Elsewhere, the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies has leapt since Russia invaded Ukraine, as people in both countries look for alternative ways to store and transfer money. But the big question, could a crackdown now be on the way? The European Union is concerned that crypto assets could be used to evade its financial sanctions on Russia. And according to France's finance minister, it's now planning to take action.
We have all seen the great effectiveness of European sanctions. These sanctions have led to a disorganisation of the Russian financial system, notably thanks to the withdrawal of the SWIFT payment system for 7 Russian banks. Sanctions also led to bank runs in Russia. They led to the paralysis of the Russian central bank. In particular, we will take measures on cryptocurrencies, which must not be used to circumvent the financial sanctions decided by the EU.
Well, let's speak now to Nigel Green, who is founder and chief executive of deVere Group, financial advisors based in Dubai. Nigel, thanks for being with us. So is that a fair concern that crypto can be used to evade sanctions?
I think all banks and cryptocurrency companies all need to make sure that they apply the sanctions, and all the major crypto exchanges have said that they will follow through and actually abide by the sanctions to individuals and companies. So yes, everybody needs to abide by the rules.
They need to. Do you expect that they will?
I do expect that they will. I think the crypto community has been horrified by what's happened in Ukraine, and you've seen a large amount of donations, and that wouldn't have been possible without cryptocurrency. So we've seen 90 million given to the Ukraine government, and cryptocurrency has been able to support people that perhaps otherwise wouldn't have been supported.
Yes, and as we touched on in the introduction there, this being used by both sides, perhaps seen as a bit of a safe haven for some to put their money when there is such turbulence maybe at home. But I suppose the question is, the appeal of crypto is that it is outside of the control of central banks. So when we start seeing rhetoric from government saying, hang on, we're going to start putting a bit more pressure and a bit more regulation on this, that goes against the entire idea of crypto, doesn't it?
It goes against the idea of crypto, but if you look at Russia in particular, what's happened there is that their reserves in effect have been frozen. So Russia has 650 million in reserves. Of that, 16% is in dollars, 32% is in euros. So 48% of their reserves are in currencies that are outside of their control. 22% of their money is in gold. That's the only thing that they can access. So their system really has been frozen. Do they in the future use cryptocurrencies instead of using the dollar or the euro? That may happen, but right now I don't believe that the sanctions, cryptocurrency has given them any advantages. Perhaps the countries in the future, they may choose not to use the dollar or the euro.
Yes, and as we've seen, of course, a lot of Russian banks locked out of that SWIFT international payment transfer system. I go back to my earlier question. Whilst we might all believe that crypto organisers, the companies behind them, the banks, the issuers, will make sure or will not want them to be used to help Russian forces and the Russian government, it's very difficult to keep an eye on what's actually happening, isn't it?
It's difficult to some extent, although when you buy cryptocurrency, you have a wallet, it's actually traceable. So you can, and people can investigate and actually see, it is transparent, see who's bought and who's sold cryptocurrencies. And don't forget also, if people are selling rubles to buy Bitcoin, that's not in favor of the Russian government. So what we saw, particularly on Monday, was the ruble fell by 30% and Bitcoin went up. That's not good for the Russian government. They're actually losing control because they're selling of rubles and buying Bitcoin. So it is an alternative, and it's an alternative that governments can't control. So you think in the future, would you rather have a government currency, or would you rather have a computer-controlled currency, let's call it something like Bitcoin? So other countries may choose to do the same thing, and individuals may want to hold something that's independent rather than government-backed currencies. And
I suppose at times of crisis like this, people will be looking for somewhere safe to put their money. The accusation would be that crypto is not a safe place to put your life savings if you're fleeing a war, for example.
Yes, I mean, but it's supply and demand. So, the trend is upward for cryptocurrencies. It is supply and demand. And obviously, if there's demand, then the price of a currency or Bitcoin goes up. So whilst it can fluctuate, the trend is definitely upwards.
Okay, it's good to have your thoughts, Nigel. Thanks for being with us, Nigel Green there from the deVere Group in Dubai.